Everybody has a junk drawer, right? Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that in terms of writing.
It's the Writing for Children podcast with your host, Katie Davis. Katie's an author herself and is the director of the Institute of Children's Literature, where since 1969, aspiring writers have learned to write for children and get published.
Episode 072, Look in Your Junk Drawer.
We want to write for children. We want to dream up stories in prose and poetry, from YA to picture books. You'll write a novel, I'll maybe try nonfiction, but we'll need help along the way. So there's a podcast, and it can save us, Writing for Children with Katie Davis. Let's write for children, we'll take it day by day.
Hi, everybody. How are you this week? I'm doing well. I'm getting lots and lots of podcasts recorded, and I hope you're doing well too, and writing and illustrating. And first, before we begin, I want to say thank you to some people who have put up some reviews on iTunes. Cindy in Alabama. Hi there. Thank you so much for saying you love you said, I really enjoyed the podcast and appreciate the show notes. You see, I never, ever use superlatives. And Mary Lou Strange said, I love this podcast with Katie Davis. I'm really nice. You said I have an amazing voice. I think I sound like a 10-year-old boy, but thank you. I've learned oodles and boodles listening to her show. I always try to include oodles and boodles, so thank you. And she says, I've been accepted into the program. I hope to be able to afford it very soon. In the meantime, these podcasts are encouraging and filled with great tips. Thank you. Thank you for leaving that, Mary Lou. And by the way, you can pay the tuition on, in installments. So Dr. Mom 90212 says, I'm new to the children's literature world, and this podcast is invaluable to me. Thank you for making this for those in my shoes. And Ashley Bomer says, love this podcast. Short, sweet, and sensational. And Katie and the incredible ICL instructors make this amazing podcast well worth a listen. I could not do it without them. So you are right. They are incredible. If you want to learn about writing for children, this podcast is a must subscribe. Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So please leave a review at iTunes. It really helps the show. And I even included your reviews in this week's show notes. So I might even include them somewhere else in another show notes. Who knows? But let's get started, shall we? All right. Look in your junk drawer. Rethink, restore, and revise. Personally, I love revising. I love it. I love the process of carving really good prose out of potentially questionable prose. For some, revision is more like a necessary evil and one you must constantly, consciously focus on, or else the old, let's make up a new story instead, nature can take over. And you may end up sending things out that really aren't ready. I've critiqued a lot of pieces of students and clients, and often after it's been rejected. And I'd say the number one reason a good piece doesn't get accepted is that it's good and it has potential, but it's not ready. It could have been great, but the writer stopped at good enough. And perhaps sometimes good enough will get you the contract and it will even get you published. But if you're self-publishing, it'll also tend to get reviews about uneven pacing or rushed endings, or even just reviews with the word rough thrown in. And revision is about smooth. And here's something I'm just going to interject here. So my assistant Kelly came here and we planned the whole next year, and it's awesome. And we've got so many exciting things planned for you guys. I'm so excited. I can't even stand it. You got to join our Facebook group because I'm going to be revealing things there. But anyway, she came here and she was like, I took the plane and I had read this author and I read his first book in the series and it was awesome. So I bought the second one and it arrived and it looked the same as the first one, but it was obviously self-published. Like perhaps he didn't get it accepted. The publisher didn't want to publish the next in the series. And so he did it himself, and it was riddled with errors. And she was basically saying, this is no good. I mean, things like, there's a dead body lying in the living room, and the detective says, well, I wonder where the body must be. I mean, things that are just completely ridiculous, because probably before the dead body wasn't in the living room. It was, buried in the backyard or something. So you really have to revise and hire an editor. Okay, enough of my soapbox. So revision is about being smooth. This is what I was going for. It smooths the raw edges where the writer's intent bashes against the writer's speed. Revision, and that guy was wanting to get it out. Revision fixes continuity errors. Oh, like dead bodies where they're not supposed to be. It searches for the theme and makes it clearer and cleaner. Revision gets rid of most, though probably not all, typos and grammar errors. Revision makes sure the work is orderly. In some ways, revision is a bit like cleaning out your junk drawer. Oh, there we're getting into the theme of the day. Bet you were wondering where that junk drawer was coming in. At one time, you thought everything in that drawer was important enough to keep and put in there. But when you start cleaning it out, there are almost always a few things that cause you to hold them up and go, why did I save this junk? A good story revision is going to show you those spots where the story is holding junk it doesn't need. Junk that does not advance the plot. Junk thrown into a poem just to make a rhyme? Ooh, but that simply doesn't make any sense. Stray facts that you may have slipped into your nonfiction that doesn't relate to the focus of the piece. With an honest, bold revision, you'll recognize that stuff for the pointless junk that it is. But revision isn't just about tossing out the junk. Look at that junk drawer again. How easy is it to find anything in there? It's a mess. Even the important stuff is tangled up with the leftover string you've been saving. Why do we do that? Or toss in completely different parts of the drawer, making the drawer far less functional than it could be. Revision is also the process of cleaning up, getting things in order and organizing. Revision makes sure that the things you need for your plot or your article are structured in a way that makes sense and that serve the story or article or poem. Revision makes the piece more serviceable, more ready to meet the needs of the reader. It makes it readable. And I'm just going to stop 1 second here to tell you something. I see your reviews. You love this podcast, but I can't go one-on-one with you. But our instructors at ICL do. Published author, former student, Carolyn Crimmy says,
Hi, I'm Carolyn Crimmy. I am the author of about 14 picture books, I think. I started my career by taking classes from the Institute of Children's Literature. I loved it. Take that class. It keeps you accountable. It gives you some discipline. It gives you some ideas on how to make the stories better. It gives you a one-on-one mentorship that you really don't get anywhere else. So I highly recommend it to everyone who is interested in children's lit.
Why don't you show us a sample of your work and we'll tell you if you have what it takes for a career in children's writing. Right now, my podcast listeners can get $50 off when you enroll. This is for new students and not those already currently enrolled and can't be combined with another offer. Just go to writingforchildren.com/IamReady and let us assess your writing. If you're accepted into our program after taking the aptitude test, not only do you get college credit, but you'll get $50 off. You have to go to writingforchildren.com/IamReady. All right. Say you're working through a mystery novel. You're working your way writing a mystery novel. If you introduce something vital in chapter 10, such as having the main character solve a clue through her knowledge of wild bird calls, then you need to prep for that thing. You need to go backwards in the piece and revise so that we know the main character is a bird watcher or something similar, something that will make her knowledge of wild birds not seem bizarre when the story reaches that point. If you don't do that, then many readers will be disgusted when this convenient skill pops up out of the blue. It's not just a mystery that needs that. Mystery novels are not the only thing. If your character just happens to have some very strange thing in her backpack that saves everyone in your adventure story, then we better have seen her put it there. or have some earlier mention of the fact that she didn't really know how to pack. So there are a lot of strange things in that backpack. And all that sort of backfill in the story to avoid convenient plotting can happen in revision. Another thing that can happen in revision is euphony. Yeah, this is the part where I recommend you read stuff out loud. I know everyone recommends that, right? Everyone says to do that. But even if you feel silly doing it, do it. Just do it where no one will hear you, because it's a vital step. And even for novels, even no matter how long it is, you need to read it out loud. You're going to find errors you wouldn't otherwise, repetitive word choices and other issues. It's one thing to make a mistake because you don't know any better, but it's another to be lazy. If you're lazy and skip this step, you are going to so regret it. Deadlines can come really fast and really furious, but pace yourself so you can give your work the time it deserves. You'll also become better at sorting that junk drawer. You'll learn the sort of pointless junk you tend to throw in and the spots where you tend to let the drawer get rough. But the work of revision is always there. None of us writes perfect prose. So, if you want to make more sales, try to avoid sending out things that are pretty good or good enough. Revision may not be much fun for you, but that junk drawer, say that 3 times fast, but that junk drawer looks terrific when it's done. That is it for this week. A little quickie. Please go and check out our website, instituteforwriters.com. Or if you want us to assess your writing, go take our aptitude test and we'll tell you if you have what it takes for a career in children's writing. Go to writingforchildren.com. I am ready. And you can also get our show notes at writingforchildren.com/072. Okay, check it out. writingforchildren.com/I am ready. I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.